What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's Brandon Brashears here. We're going to talk about some Instagram and personal branding here today. And I'm trying to get my friend Gary Parker on here. Send to Gary Parker. So I haven't done any co-hosted Instagram videos yet. I typically do Facebook Live. There we go, Gary. He's on here. So let's see here. There we go. Just waiting for Gary to jump on. All right, everybody, how's it going? There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gary Parker. How's it going, dude?
I am breaking my golden rule right now.
What is your golden rule?
My golden rule is that I stare at the sun. Pretty much. That is my golden rule. Here, I'm actually, wait, this angle looks better. Great. Let's pin a comment. Hey, doing a live cool interview, chill talk.
So as you're getting that up, I'm going to tell how I met Gary. So Gary and I connected through Anchor, which is a podcasting app. Now, do you still do your Anchor app podcast? I'm not on Anchor too much these days.
Oh, I see. Oh, man. No, you were actually one of the few people that were delivering value on that platform.
Okay. Well, I have another podcast that was a matter of figuring out which one I wanted to be working on. I'm going to start that one up again. I like Anchor just because of all of the features that it has that you can share from, like the video, text stuff, all that good stuff. So,
how do I? Oh no! How do I do this? There we go. We're here. Pin this comment.
Pin it. You got it.
Yeah, pin it so that if someone joins, they can see it.
Very good.
Okay.
It's pinned. What's up, everybody? So,
what's going on?
I wanted to talk to Gary about personal branding on Instagram, specifically because I see him creating content every single day. You're doing a great job at it. And I was given a little bit of backstory. So I met Gary from Anchor, his podcast. You were basically doing a documentation of creating communityart.ca, if I remember correctly, which is a cool business. Why don't you tell us that you're not super active in that one right now. You're building out an agency, but that was a really cool business in general.
So communityart.ca was it was like a brainchild that sparked out of necessity and need and a lot of crying and prayer, I guess, where I imagine Netflix and Airbnb, but for art. People could go online and see the art pieces they wanted and just select it and get to their place. And so at that time, I was super fresh. Listening to some of those podcasts, I was like, wow, this guy was super green into this. I had all these perceptions about, client, deal, sign, this or that. And so what I did was spend a lot of time in that realm of like, oh, I'm not trying to help someone. I was trying to close a deal. And it was through that process, I was like, I'm going to document this because one day I want to look back and understand where I'm coming from. And actually, while I made that podcast, I learned so much about me and how I was perceiving things and just kept moving forward from there. So, that's kind of the rub on community art.
Very cool. Well, so now you're building out a digital agency, which is very cool.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of cool things with that. But one thing I see you doing a great job at is Instagram, and you use it not just as a platform to constantly post out there. You're using it as a platform for a lot more engagement and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to talk to you about specifically, with Instagram and growing your Instagram and things. When you're creating content on a daily basis, what kind of is your strategy going into it? And because your posts are super engaging, and I like the content that you're putting out. It's high quality content too, like daily, and you do it every single day. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain on your strategy and the thought behind it and everything like that.
Yeah. So like Brandon, you are no stranger to this content world, and so in the beginning, my strategy. I'll reveal my strategy here. my strategy is to not get caught up in the quantity, like the quality of the post, but to create a narrative in which I could naturally share just what I was doing. Because in about 1 year and a half ago, what I was doing on Instagram was creating this narrative like entrepreneurial this, where it's just me in events and suits and ties. But that wasn't the case because I couldn't create content every day because it's not in suits and ties every day. I was more in sweaters and jackets and just around laptops. And so what I recognized was the best thing that I could do was change the story that I was creating. Because regardless or not, on Instagram, everyone has a story that they're showing right now, right? Your story, so far, is family man, enjoys time with the kids. And that story, whatever you post, it's easy for you to post within that story, whether it's a photo or a video for kids. And so the first thing I had to do was pick my story, choose my story, and allow my story to align with my real life, right? And once I chose a story that aligned with my real life, it was easy to create stories, it was easy to create posts, and it was easy to fulfill the narrative of my actual life, right? So I had to get as close as possible to my actual life so that I could just share without worrying about will this be just, so I could just share effortlessly. The next thing that I kind of overcame was this mental block of how to overcome the judgment or things like that, right? And I kind of recognized once I got as authentic as I could to my real life narrative, I decided that at this point, so what kind of gave me the boost was because I wasn't doing it for money anymore, right? I kind of figured out this thing, I had enough clients that if someone didn't want to do business with me because of Instagram, I had to switch in my brain that if you don't like me how I am, I'm not going to change to fit you and do business with you, right? And so I came to this acceptance of myself, and then I was like, you know what? Bob's my uncle. Might as well just share. So that was so the strategy was pick a narrative that is as close to your real life as possible, and the second thing, step confidence in this, and then just keep going.
That's really good point. I think everybody suffers from that. They're afraid that they're not going to be accepted by people, but like you're not going to be able to make everybody like you. That's one thing
Yeah,
that's huge. Like I'm a Star Wars nerd, right? I got all my Star Wars stuff in the office. I was afraid to show that. Like when I initially started, I just wanted this background. But then
yeah,
I found that people were also Star Wars nerds, and like when we talked, and I have clients that like the same things as I do. It's easy to build rapport and all of that stuff. So that's really good points.
yeah. That's exactly it. And at the end of the day, it was like reality of it is, we're all just people. you know, if I can help you and you have a problem that I can solve, let me help you. If I can't help you, you should find someone else that can help you. It's really just that simple. Like even right now, which is why I was kind of coming on late here. I'm actually creating just a lead doc for a client of mine where he had a super hot lead come in, and he was like, "Whoa, Gary, this is a hot lead." And I was like, "Yeah, I can. If I can help you solve this problem, your problem is that you're trying to find people who could use your stuff. I can help you find this. I can help you solve this problem. I have the tools. So regardless of what I do or not, as a person, you should trust me to solve your problem, right?"
Definitely, 100%. That's really cool. So, um, with your
Thank you.
Instagram and specifically like frequency of posts and things, how do you how come you made the decision to post every single day? I think that's a lot of especially now that you're in the agency world more than the art kind of agency world.
Yeah.
You're going to be running up a lot against clients who are hesitant to get content out there. So I guess just as far as frequency of content goes, and like you said, building up an authentic narrative, how important is frequency for you to make that happen, in your opinion?
So I've tried to. So stories every day is a must.
Mm-hmm.
Stories is a must. Posts are necessary. Posts are necessary. Okay. Stories is a must. Posts are necessary. Myself, sometimes I slack on posting, right? Which is to my detriment. However, because the reason why it's to my detriment is because attention right now is very cheap. You posted this today, Brandon. Like everything's out there is very. The amount of attention you can get today is
Yeah,
insane.
totally.
So
Your
Posts, if
cost
I
per
could.
views are ridiculously cheap, and cost per view on posts ridiculously cheap.
Exactly. And if you can spend on Instagram, um, once you found your narrative, okay, whether it's, you're a fun-loving dad who also runs this, if you can create posts from your life, it becomes, my frequency is at least twice a week, or at least once, like if twice a week at least, and then once a week if it's very busy in terms of business, because actually, like, you run a business and whatever. So if I can, it's twice a week minimum, posts once a week, and then sometimes ever so often I would literally make just very easily edited videos and post them just every day, and then archive them after a week for the sake of staying top of mind, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. So the authenticity is there with those who are following me, but it doesn't remain on my feed for those who would come to judge me, to decide and make a decision.
Got it. That makes that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah, right?
yeah, definitely. So I guess with that, do you when you create your Instagram stories daily, are you for the most part just kind of like making it up as you go, or do you plan it out topically by the day and then you start out and kind of like fulfill that plan, or how do you make the story of the day kind of be coherent for you?
So I once upon a time I used to plan every story. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to plan every story. And it was very exhausting, but they were super interactive. The user, when people started watching, they continued watching to the end when I planned. However, when I didn't plan the stories, about 20% fell off near the end, which I was okay with, because 20% is fine in terms of the effort. So planning stories would have taken me an hour the night before, 30 minutes, well, 15 to 20 minutes just thinking, and then an hour to execute during the day, right?
Yep.
And so my strategy now, because I've found the narrative, which is just my life, where wherever I am, it's fine, right? Like,
Yep.
I'll just post a story wherever without planning, because the narrative that I've created matches my life that I'm living. So there's less planning when you've chosen to live a similar version of your real life
Yeah,
through your
the
story.
one that you promote is the real life. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't have to lease the Ferrari every day, right?
pretty much. Like, yeah, it's not worth it, really. Like, it's too much work. Like, social media is too much work, especially Instagram, if you are not authentic. It's a lot of work to falsely proclaim to be something that you're not. It's a lot of work, right? Like,
Definitely.
and you're not fooling anyone. There's media literacy is a thing. Like
Yep.
social media literacy, like people know what's real and people know what's fake, right? Like the sun, I don't like the sun, but people know that I'm here in the sunlight. Like this will never happen in real life.
It's a once in a lifetime thing. I'll
See,
be
like,
sure to record this and save it so we can reference it in the future. Well, that's some really good points. I think that's great. I think people are a lot of times afraid to be authentic just because they're afraid of being judged. But at the same time, you want to kind of get the people who wouldn't do business with you out of the way, anyways. And it also makes it
yeah,
easier for you to create content. So that's super cool. I like that.
right. And Brendan, if I could jump in again, it's like this. Hopefully, you can save this. I can direct people to the story. By the way.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, cool. Uh, it's like this. And this is probably the most important part. Would you really like to do business with someone who doesn't like you? It's very hard working with someone who won't listen or doesn't like you. Instead of sending an email in 4 seconds, the email becomes like this whole thing where you have to think about it and all these other things, right? But if the person likes you, it's like that. And like, I want to do business with Brandon because Brandon's a cool guy. He likes Star Wars. Like, I vibe with this. He has kids. I like kids. Like, I have nieces. Like, I relate. And
Yep.
that's why it makes sense, right? Because if you're watching this from Brandon's following, Brandon's a real guy. And, if you know people that could do business with Brandon, why not send businesses his way? Because the truth is, here's the thing about Instagram. Brandon, your followers may not be your clients, right? Sure. Big whoop. But they have friends and family who could be your clients, right?
Yep, for
And they
sure.
need to love you as a person. So so they can feel comfortable with you helping someone else that they know.
Yep.
Pretty
Definitely.
much, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Brandon, why don't you share some of your strategies on YouTube and your learnings, just for a little bit here, because I have to. So I'm in the middle of sending. My phone's gonna die.
Your phone's gonna die here?
Can we do a screenshot here? Shot real quickly, and then so I can direct people. Are you gonna screenshot?
Wait, what's that? Yeah, go for it. You want me to, or do you want?
Yeah, you do it. You do it.
Okay. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, got it. Good.
All right. Cool. My phone's at 1%. It's going to
So
die.
yeah, it's gonna die soon. Well, I think I'll probably do a video on YouTube. YouTube has been very interesting. It's a very slow growth platform, but man, the average time of view on YouTube versus Instagram or versus Facebook is amazing. The content that I put on Facebook versus Instagram, my average view time will be below a minute on Facebook, but on YouTube it's about 4 minutes and 20 seconds, like average view time. It's almost all organic too. Well, it is all organic, but just natively from YouTube, not from external sources. And so the strategy I'm doing is building out small keyword phrases that are very long tail, that don't have very much competition. So I'll find something, a topic, and then I'll post a video about that. And then since there's not as much competition, my small channel is able to get seen. So that's the strategy, and it just is a long grind to build views and things. But the long tail is a lot better on YouTube, so it's pretty cool. It's interesting too. I've had actual client interactions from this, so people that are like, "Hey, I want to work with you. How do I work with you?" And people have bought product from me, and so it's pretty interesting. It's faster than I thought initially would have happened, so it's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So pretty cool platform. I like both Instagram and YouTube. I'm not as active on Instagram as I would like to be, so that's why I'm starting to do stuff like this, where I talk to people who I see doing cool stuff on the platform. And so let's wrap up here before your phone dies. But just real quick, tell everybody what you do, how to reach you, and if somebody wants to learn more, what they should do. I don't know if you can hear me there.
Am I still here?
You're still here. You're still here.
Okay. I'm losing service and I have 1% battery life. So, if you're watching this replay, please give Brandon a follow. Follow his YouTube. And Brandon, if you ever want to do this again, like if you want to do this recurring thing, I'm down to have like a Brandon and Gary show. Just something on Instagram every day, everything like that.
I like that idea.
And I think that would be cool. And I think that would be a nice thing to do, where we talk all things marketing. And that way, also, I can benefit from you chopping up the blog post or the whatever you want to divvy it up in.
Sure.
I can benefit that content material as well.
Sounds good. I think I'm going to lose Gary here in any second now. So as we lose Gary, be sure to follow him. I know that he built out Messenger bots specifically. He's doing really cool things with Messenger bots. So if you're looking for anything related to Messenger, be sure to reach out to him. Follow his content. He's got a lot of really cool things going on, especially on his LinkedIn. He's got some really good videos that he's been producing. And I think that LinkedIn is a really underutilized platform, especially for B2B stuff. So be sure to check out Gary's LinkedIn. I'm going to wrap up here. It looks like we lost Gary for sure. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. And if you have any questions or need help with anything, what's up? Be sure to say how's it going. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.